Fourth video.
Okay, right, now we have Mary. Mary's wearing a heavy dull green, I will learn to say that a bit, fail, P-H-A-I-L, how do you say that? Fail, that's good. Self-patterned material was used to create this beautiful long frock, which is in Mary's private collection. Note the lovely lace collar, and it has an unusually cut skirt at the back. Very nice, Mary, very nice. Good to see you in my dress. Snuck up behind me. Okay, a World War II uniform belonging to Flying Officer Ian Moore, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Lorna, for making Ian's uniform. Ian enlisted in the Air Force in 1941 in the RAF and was sent to England. He then drafted to the RAF, which is the English Air Force. He was attached to Number 9 Squadron, which was an offshoot to the Dam Busters. The Dam Busters' purpose was to blow up anything to do with German military, for example, dams, factories. Ian did 30 operational missions over Germany and ended up a flying officer. The Medal of Honor was awarded by France to all servicemen who participated in the liberation of France, particularly Bomber Command Airmen during World War II. 70 years after the war in France, this medal was given to his wife Lorna after his death, and she has given permission for it to be carried by Cadet Hall from the Glen High School cadets. And young Mr. Hall is very proud to wear this uniform for us tonight. So again, thank you very much, Lorna.
Pity he didn't shine his boots.
Jenny Ross Fraser has loaned this beautiful Viola pure wool frock to be worn by Antonia. We've teamed the dress with a Valère West original hat, which was bought in the Piccadilly Arcade in Sydney in the 1950s. Just a little bit of hat. Already a hat, glove holder, and bag for this outfit. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Alexandra is wearing this lovely night dress. It was made for Gwen Woods by a private dressmaker and has a bast satin binding around the neck and a feature of the lace on the bodice and sleeves. So a lovely night dress, and thank you very much, Alexandra. Which one do you want me to do this? Okay. Fiona O'Brien has let us Miss Marg. Miss Marg Parker's going away dress, a beautiful pink dress with a lace coat over the dress and called a twin set. Marg, then Pringle, was married in Tinker in the 1950s, and the dress is being modelled by Sarah O'Brien, Margaret's granddaughter. And Mary is in this 1980s delightful whoops, 1960s it is. Yeah. You gave me the wrong one there, Mary. Mary has found herself in this 1960s short, very short dress. Type of dress that has turned heads and shocked racegoers at the Melbourne Cup one year when Gene Simpson first appeared in one. It's been lent to us by the Premier Store. So thank you very much. You can go and get that short dress at the Premier Store wherever the Netherlands Cup.
The old hospital has always been a major part of Glen's history. One of the first nurses there, Sister Nancy Berridge. I'd like to speak on her behalf tonight. Nancy's quite ill and couldn't be here tonight. Nancy commenced training in 1937. She was aged 18 and there were 14 trainees at the time. There were 5 trained nurses and they lived in the nurses' home. Matron and Sister Dorothy Mitchell, later Mrs. Eric Gordon, lived in the flat above the courtyard. Nancy has very fond memories of Eric Gordon as he worked as volunteer ambulance driver until permanent officer was appointed. The ambulance was an old Model T Ford was extremely hard to start, so a garage was built at the back entrance to the hospital with a door both front and back. This allowed the ambulance to be driven in, and when needed again, to be driven out the front for easy starting. As Walton's garage was across the park, Eric often got to the ambulance before the patient did. War broke out in 1939. Things were hard. Training nurses cooked breakfast and tea at night, working long hours. Breakfast was rolled oats and bread. The patient wanted bacon, eggs, or a sausage. They had to provide their own, which the nurses cooked. Dinner was provided a midday meal by the hospital. Tea, usually soup, was cooked by the trainees. Local farmers brought in excess food and also wood. The stove in the kitchen was wood-fired. The laundry lady made jam from the excess fruit that was brought in. In Nancy's own words, there was little help. However, we had a couple of VAD, voluntary aid detachments. Helen Christo, who you may have all known, was one of these. They helped doing the tasks like getting cups of tea or carrying water. They made their own swabs and dressings and bandages. Bandages were made from worn-out sheets that were torn up, washed and re-sterilised with steam for reuse. Patients often rolled up the bandages for the nurses. Syringes were cleaned and boiled and put in methylated spirits for reuse. Days were spent sweeping floors, delivering wood, feeding patients who couldn't feed themselves, collecting meal trays and washing up. Bedpan rounds every 4 hours, bed sponges, making beds, cleaning teeth, washing, dressing and towels, etc. 50 hours a week, giving them 1.5 days off, 60 hours a week when you were on night duty, and 1 midnight shift, all for 7 shillings and 8 pence, which is, I guess, 79 cents. 1938, the winter was very severe. There was a plague of diphtheria and pneumonia. They were in epidemic proportions. Hospital was only heated by water boilers, controlled by the boiler, which was stoked by the boiler man, who slept in the room behind the kitchen. There were open fires in the wards and day room, stoked by the nurses. Training nurses and lectures given by doctors, mainly Doctors Lynch, Buddy, Korf and Irwin. And of course, Matron did the practical side, and the trainees went to school for cooking lessons, held in the old primary school, where the lunch centre is today. There was an army camp out on the Shenandoah Road, and even though it was fully equipped with medical staff, the soldiers did get care from the hospital when necessary, e.g. when there was a mumps outbreak. Also, another time there was a seriously ill woman who had septicemia, and penicillin was needed for her recovery. However, the local doctors did not have access to penicillin for general use. Dr. Veach was attached to the army camp. He made the drug available and saved the life of the local woman. Nancy particularly remembers Mr. Jones and Eric Warden, both voluntary ambulance officers. Nancy retired in 1983. She had 8 children.
We haven't been able to locate a full nursing outfit from those years, but as I said, where would we be without our nurses? Thank you. Wearing this lovely pure wool coat that features a tuxedo front, which was very fashionable at the time. The black Breton wool hat was very popular at the time also. The hat and the coat have been lent by Iris Willoughby Reynolds. So thank you very much, Antonio. Margaret Corrie has lent us the uniform of her father, flying Officer Angus Charles Mott. And Angus was a twin, born on the 22nd of July 1923. He went into pilot training with his twin brother in Australia, and both ending up as navigators. He sailed separately to England via San Francisco to New York, and Angus completed his tour of duty fighting over Europe, becoming a pilot and an observer. He came home safely to his family, married, and had 4 daughters. Thank you very much, Hamish Stewart, for wearing his uniform tonight. Thank you.
Historian Margaret Smith has written something on clothes during the war. And some of the clothes we've seen today, I think this is a little out of sequence because that last red coat doesn't reflect what I'm just about to read. I was at school when the war began, and our accepted clothes were a tunic and a Sunday dress. So at first, rationing didn't bite. However, by the time I finished school, my tunic was more dance than material. When I finished school and went to university, everyone was in the same state. We had one dress for weekdays and one for Sundays. When we played hockey, our team was dressed in sports tunics from 9 different schools. When we went to Sydney to play at Country Week, we had to scour Armidale to find 12 matching tunics. People were very generous spending their treasures. There was no material in the shops, so one of my vivid memories is one of my older sisters patching her pyjamas with a flour bag. These bags were highly treasured, and then they disappeared and flour came in paper packets. One of my vivid memories is of the Deadman era. Mr. Deadman was the minister in charge of production, and he decreed that all clothes must have minimal material. Skirts had to be knee-length and straight. Men's coats had to be waist-length. Our clothes had been shabby, and now they were ugly as well. Knitted jumpers were highly prized, but of course wool was rationed and came into the shops once every 3 months. I remember standing in a queue that stretched from Quong Sing's to the Grand Theatre. Wool was in, and everyone wanted a share before the supply ran out. However, I don't remember people complaining. This was our small share of the war effort. Thanks, Margaret.
Flying Officer Malcolm James Mott, born on the 22nd of July 1923, Angus's twin. He went to pilot training in Australia and then sailed to England. Malcolm was on a training flight in Wales when the plane ended up flying into Mount Snowdon, as there was a heavy fog. On the 8th of June 1944, just before his 21st birthday, Di Newman is modelling Malcolm's uniform tonight, and Sarah Hutton. So thank you very much, and thank you very much also to the Mott family for lending these precious items for tonight. Tonight, Dale is wearing the dress she had worn when she made her debut in the late 1960s. Dale was not into lots of laces, bows and ruffles, so the dress had to be simple and classical. Her mother was the dressmaker, with Dale instructing what she wanted. The gown is an empire line made out of chiffon over a taffeta lining with a diamante braid applied around the neckline, continuing down the front and around the empire line. It has been hanging in the wardrobe all this time, but ironically, this is its second outing this year. So thank you very much, Dale, for being with us tonight.
Here endeth the video. Upload limit.